Good morning, good afternoon, hello, wherever you are, good night. We welcome you to one of our centenary webinars of ISTA, 100 years of ISTA webinars, and seed science is the topic today. We have two online presenters here, and I will introduce these two people later when it comes to their presentation. I would like to give you some more information first. We will record this webinar and we will make it available on the YouTube channel of ISTA during the next days. If you have any questions to the presenters, please feel free to put your questions in the question and answer box, and we will address them. All questions we cannot address within the foreseen time, we will pass on and you will get an answer later on. I would like to start with a presentation which is recorded from Fiona Hay. Fiona holds a PhD in seed conservation science and a Master of Science in Applied Statistics and Operational Research. And throughout her career, Fiona's research was focused on enhancing the ex situ conservation of plant species and agrobiodiversity in seed gene banks. She has published approximately 100 scientific articles, both peer-reviewed and non, and has delivered numerous scientific presentations also during ISTA events. A significant highlight of her career includes leading the seed quality management activity of CGIAR gene banks, collaborated closely with Global Crop Diversity Trust. Currently, Fiona serves as the chief editor of Seed Science and Technology, published by ISTA, and is a member of the ISTA Moisture Technical Committee. She's also the president-elect of the International Society for Seed Science, where ISTA also has a number of webinars together in the past and will continue in the future. Her work has spanned across the UK, Philippines, and Denmark, and she continues to collaborate with seed scientists and gene banks worldwide. I would kindly ask that we start her presentation.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are in the world. My name is Fiona Hay, and I was asked to contribute to this ISTA Centennial webinar in my role as Chief Editor of Seed Science and Technology, ISTA's International Scientific Journal. The theme for this webinar is the link between ISTA and seed science. And the title of this presentation is Scientific Understanding of Seeds Underpins ISTA's Work. ISTA's mission is to produce internationally agreed rules for seed sampling and testing. And of course, the updated version of the rules is published every year in the International Rules for Seed Testing. ISTA also accredits laboratories, promotes research, provides international seed analysis certificates and training, and disseminates knowledge in seed science and technology. And all of these activities together facilitate seed trading nationally and internationally and contribute to food security. One of the main ways ISTA disseminates knowledge is through its journal Seed Science and Technology. And as ISTA celebrates 100 years this year, a couple of years ago, Seed Science and Technology celebrated its 50th volume. The first issue was in 1973, replacing the proceedings of the International Seed Testing Association. We have all the past issues available in an electronic format. And if we look inside that first issue, we can see that this issue stemmed out of the Seed Quality Research Symposium in 1971, which was held as part of the 16th Congress of the International Seed Testing Association. There were special editors for this particular issue, Vivian Toole and L. Woodstock, but the journal did also have some editors appointed. So you can see in 1973 that these three people were responsible for editing the journal Seed Science and Technology. The number of editors increased a little bit, and then in 1984, the journal moved to having a chief editor together with an editorial board. So the first chief editor for the journal was S.R. Draper. And then in 2000, chief editor became Anne Bülow-Wilson. And then 2010, Alison Powell took over briefly, and that was intended to be a brief role before I took the role on in 2011. Just to say something else about the history of the journal, certainly the more recent history, because when I took the journal on 2011, everything was still being done by email. And probably way back in 1973, I imagine things were all done by post as well. So it would have been a very, very different process that these early editors had to produce the journal every issue. Articles from 2003 onwards are available online. This is the website, so it's on Ingenta Connect. And articles from 2018 onwards are available with no charge, so they're access. Scope of Seed Science and Technology. So it's an international journal featuring original papers and articles on seed quality and physiology related to the production, harvest, processing, sampling, storage, genetic conservation, habitat generation, distribution, and testing. And one of the things that one of the changes that I made when I took over, and we were still publishing physical issues of the volume then, was to rationalize the topics under which the papers were grouped. So the journal used to be printed each issue in a physical form, and on the back was a list of the contents, and the papers were grouped according to different topics. So these are the main topics. So sometimes we have review articles. Most of the papers are full-length papers, and the topics we have are dormancy and germination, seed health, production and processing, storage and aging, variety identification and purity, seed viability testing, and enhancement. So these are the full-length papers, and then we also have shorter research notes. So a full-length paper can be any length within reason, whereas a research note is supposed to be at a maximum of 2,000 words and just have two tables or two figures or one of each as the maximum. And here now I've added on the names of ISTA's technical committees. So the editorial board for the journal, that does count as a technical committee. So obviously we're responsible for the journal and handling the papers that get submitted to the journal. And the link between the articles that we publish in Seed Science and Technology and the committees are really very clear on here. So you can see we have, for example, papers published on dormancy and germination, and any paper published on a different species where we don't know much about how to germinate the seeds. This could be helpful information for the germination committee if they at some point go on to add that particular species into the ISTA rules. Similarly, for something like vigor testing, so some of the vigor tests which are now in the rules, you will see that the science behind those vigor tests are explained or are published in papers which are falling into this vigor testing and enhancement topic of the journal. Viability testing contributes to the work of the Tetrazoleum Committee. Viability testing isn't necessarily limited to Tetrazoleum. That's where quite a lot of our papers are, and they might be feeding in there. Statistics, this is actually almost coming the other way. So statistics are applied in different ways. We do have some papers published which are to do with the statistics of seed testing, but that's not so common. So there's just some examples where the science is very much linked to the work of the technical committees of ISTA. A couple more committees over here. So we have the Flower Seed Committee, the Forest, Tree and Shrub Seed Committee, and the Wild Species Committee. And basically, any paper on any of these different topics could be on seeds, which would be falling into one of these groups of plants. We also have Advanced Technologies Committee and then the Seed Science Advisory Group, and they, in their own right, are supposed to be making the link between science and seed testing and the work of ISTA. So this is why I've sort of done these brackets. So there's a two-way action there, and any of the papers that we publish on any of these topics might be feeding into work that these two committees are doing. And the other committees we have are the Bulking and Sampling Committee. We really don't get very many papers at all on bulking and sampling submitted to Seed Science and Technology. Not since I've taken over. I imagine back in the 70s and 80s, there were more. Nomenclature. We don't have papers really on nomenclature, but it's very useful to have the I can't say that word. But very useful to have that committee. Because sometimes I need to check that when we're publishing a paper, that the name of the species or the taxon, whatever it is, that it's correct. So I do sometimes consult that committee. There is a proficiency test and the rules committees, and really these are very much about the business of ISTA. So there's not so much of a direct link with the journal here. But of course, all the work of the other committees is certainly feeding into the rules. So science is very important to ISTA. So original, well-performed seed research is key to driving advances in seed testing. As gatekeepers, the editorial board of Seed Science and Technology aims to ensure high-quality, relevant research is published. We also try, as we can, to raise the overall quality of seed science by giving constructive feedback on articles that get submitted. So during the review process, we try and make constructive comments, which will be helpful in improving the future work of the scientists, as well as that particular paper if it goes through to being published. And then, of course, ultimately advancing our understanding of seeds supports ISTA's work. And now I need to just change hat, because as well as being chief editor of Seed Science and Technology on behalf of ISTA, I'm also president-elect of the International Society for Seed Science, the ISSS. The ISSS is an academic society focusing all on seeds. And actually we're having a joint jubilee this year, because while ISTA is celebrating 100 years, the ISSS is celebrating 25 years. So we have our silver jubilee this year as well. So as I said, the International Society for Seed Science is a professional organization of seed scientists committed to fostering and promoting education and communication in the scientific understanding of seeds. We do this in particular through our conferences. So we have the biennial conference. So every 2 years we hold a big conference on seeds. And every 3 years we have the seed ecology meeting. Next year in 2025, these two are actually going to be doing a joint meeting. So next year we have the ISSS Conference 2025. So it'll be both the biennial and seed ecology. So that's being held in September. It's being organised by Kings Park Botanic Gardens in Perth, Western Australia, and we hope you might be able to make it there. ISSS also has society journal, so that is Seed Science Research. And so you can see here, this is the official journal of the International Society for Seed Science, a leading international journal featuring high-quality original papers and review articles on the fundamental aspects of seed science. The emphasis is on the physiology, biochemistry, molecular biology, and ecology of seeds. And just to say something about the complementarity of these two journals, Seed Science and Technology and Seeds Science Research, I think one of the key points is that Seed Science Research is more likely to have articles and papers which are more on the fundamental aspects of seed science, whereas Seed Science and Technology is more the applied aspect of seeds. ISTA and ISSS, we have joint webinars. So every 6 months or so, we have a webinar. We have a topic for the webinar, and we have a presenter from the ISTA side and from the ISSS side. And like with the two journals, the ISTA presenter is supposed to give a more applied discussion on the topic, whereas the ISSS presenter will give some more fundamental theory about the topic. So you can find all the past webinars on ISTA's YouTube channel. So you can see the last one was on pathology, and we've got one coming up very soon, which is about tree seeds. Just to show, this is Julia Buting, who's actually the current president of the ISSS. Of course, you know Andreas here, and this is Ruud, who is presenting from ISTA's side on the topic of seed pathology and seed health. And with that, I'll say thank you very much. It's been great to share with you today some of those links between seed science and seed testing and the importance of seed science for ISTA's work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this nice presentation. I think I have to switch on the camera. We have now 2 live presenters. By the way, also Fiona presented on behalf of Julia, so that was a common presentation of both of them. So we now come to our second presenter, and as I said, it's online, and I welcome very much a friend and a nice person, Professor Uma Rani Sania. She's a lecturer in the Department of Crop Science, Faculty of Agriculture at the University Putra Malaysia, UPM, with, it says here 27 years of experience, but it cannot be because you look much younger than that. You must have started in kindergarten then. She earned her PhD from the University in Reading, specializing in seed science and technology, focusing on physiology, biochemistry, dormancy and storage, including cryopreservation. She's also skilled in plant tissue culture, agronomy, and phytochemicals. Uma has published more than 200 articles in citation index journals, contributed to book chapters, and served as an editor of Springer book, Natural Bioactivity Compounds. She was Deputy Director of the University Community Transformation Center from 2014 to 2019 and is currently President of the National Seed Association of Malaysia. She also holds positions on various seed technology committees and journal editorial board, and that includes, of course, and we thank you very much for that, ISTA's Seed Science and Technology, as well as 3Biotech. In February 24, she was appointed Deputy Dean for Postgraduate Research and Internationalization at UPM's Faculty of Agriculture. Uma, I welcome you very much today, and we are all excited about your presentation. And don't forget, if there are questions, please put them in the question box. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andreas. What a compliment. Thank you for introducing me, and a very good day to everyone. My name is Uma, as mentioned, and I have in fact worked for 27 years at University Putra Malaysia as seed technologies. So I have also served as SST journal. I sit in the editorial board. So I help Fiona, and I'm also a member of the seed storage committee under ISTA. So if you are asking whether we are connected with ISTA, the answer is yes, very highly committed. And I would like to actually thank ISTA for giving me this opportunity to share seed science experience in the Asia Pacific region. Next, please. Okay, I would just like to take you through what is happening in the Southeast Asia and the APAC region. I think we are all on the same page on key challenges in agriculture. The escalating population of the world, decline in land, especially fertile land. We have issues with climate change, poor soils, pest and disease pressures, and all these things. They are ongoing matters of today's world. So I think one good way, one good way to actually look at this is by looking at seeds, right? Through seed science and technology. Seeds are pivotal in addressing key agriculture challenges. They are very important input in agriculture, and they can be manipulated either naturally or artificially through advanced breeding techniques, through seed technologies like hybridization, genetic modification, gene editing, seed treatments, right? Just to mention a few, all these techniques in seed science and technology can actually provide targeted solutions, enhancing climate resilience, nutrient use efficiency, and sustainability. Next. So I just want to put this into this pictorial concept, which I think will jive well with what the seed arena is doing. The development of superior crop plant varieties, their evaluation and release, which mainly encompasses the breeding side. But breeding definitely comes hand in hand with the technology aspect, right? The seed production, the seed processing, storage, enhancement, testing and certification, quality control. I think much of what I put in that wheel there is what Fiona also presented as being the major scope in the journal, right? Because these are things which are very, very critical in seeds, but they come hand in hand with breeding, so that we can try and solve challenges that are ahead. Next. Okay, so we can actually see the growth in the global seed market, right? Talking about the importance of seed, this is very much depicted in the values that we see here, right? In 2022, it was estimated, the value for global seed market was estimated to be 67 million. And by 2026, it escalates to 86.8 billion, right? And if we look at the statistics for 2030, 2050, they are growing exponentially. And guess what? The fastest growing market is Asia Pacific. So we can see China, India, they are growing tremendously in the seed market. Next. So let me talk about a little bit about the seed industry in Asia Pacific, because that is the topic that I'm supposed to cover, and see how Asia Pacific actually links with ISTA. So Asia Pacific is endowed with diversity. So we get a vast diversity of crop species, including crops like rice, wheat, maize, very different crops compared to the Western world. And with this diversity actually comes both opportunities and challenges, especially in seed science. Uh, Being diverse is one, but the climate is also very diverse and very harsh. For example, in the tropics and subtropics, we get very high rainfall, high humidity, and high temperature. I would say this is a recipe for disaster when we talk about seeds, especially if you are looking at seed drying, seed storage, right? Extra care has to be taken to overcome all these challenges in production and handling of the seeds. Next. So just a few statistics that I could pick up on Asia Pacific. Having said that it is the fastest growing region, we can see that the Asia Pacific seed market stood at 21.76 billion out of the 60 billion, right? So that gives us a value or a guide as to what is the size of the market. Largest segment by crop family, grains and cereals, and largest segment by country happens to be China. But there are many other upcoming countries. I mentioned India, Philippines, Myanmar, Korea. All these countries are upcoming in this area. Next, please. Okay, the Asia Pacific Seed Association. I know Fiona talked a lot about ISTA, and then she also spoke about ISSS. So I'm going to bring in another entity, with it's the Asia Pacific Seed Association. So in the APAC region, the seed arena is sort of dominated or under the purview of the Asia and Pacific Seed Association. So this region has about 46 countries, and out of the 46, I think about 30 plus are actually members of the Asia and Pacific Seed Association. So I happen to sit. They also have committees like like the committees that are present under ISTA. So I sit in the Seed Technology Committee, and this committee, as well as other committees, I think they link very well with ISTA, and the activities of APSA also is very well aligned with ISTA. I will show some examples later on. Let us just move on for now. Next. Okay, so these are the key priorities and key stakeholders. So these are key stakeholders of APSA, and you can actually see that ISTA is definitely there as one of their key stakeholders. We have actually conducted multiple programs together with ISTA. APSA holds their annual ASEAN Seed Congress, and ISTA is always a part of this event. So their key priorities: plant variety protection, trading of high quality seeds, phytosanitary framework, new breeding technology and R&D, and then knowledge transfer program, genetic resources, and ABS. And one of their new babies has been the University Connect program. So I was also part of the brainstorming session on why this actually came about. We find that a lot of the younger generation are not keen in agriculture, perhaps because there is lack of awareness, right? So what we are doing in the APAC region is trying to strengthen the linkage with university to encourage the young generation to be exposed to agriculture, particularly in the case with the seed industries. Next, please. Okay, so this slide actually shows the connectivity. So currently we have started with like 18 universities from 8 countries, and it's expanding, right? The more, the merrier. And this slide is actually courtesy of APSA. So it's presented with permission. And this is brilliant because these universities actually get access to all the activities of APSA free, right? Otherwise, some of the activities is for members only. So we open up, and this actually has opened up a lot of connections, and good things are coming out of this program. Next, please. Okay, so there's also the APSA Seed Academy, very similar with what ISTA ISS is doing. APSA Seed Academy sort of organizes continual webinars. There's at least about 4 to 8 webinars a year, depending on which committee you belong to. But you can see the Seed Technology Committee is the most active. We have various webinars conducted, like on priming, dormancy, coating, and all these topics jive very well with ISTA, with the journal, and with some of the topics on webinar that ISTA has also conducted. And obviously, Andreas is here. He has been invited to give talks, and many others. Incidentally, just 2 weeks ago, we invited Fiona to be a speaker on the topic seed storage. So you see, it's all very nicely connected and moving in the right direction, I would say. Next slide, please. Okay, and this is my final slide, just to mention that this is the model APAC uses, the Asia Pacific region. Like, for example, we have in Malaysia the National Seed Association, and I'm the current president of the association. And the association is actually a member of APSA, and then APSA is a member or is well affiliated with ISTA. So there's a nice connectivity that actually brings everybody together, right? Next, please. I think that's the last slide. Thank you. So I just want to end by saying controlling the seeds controls the world. So we are doing the right thing. Thank you very much, Andres.
Thank you very much, Uma, for your presentation. And you're right, ISTA and APSA are very closely related. We have for a long time now a memorandum of understanding. We have workshops together and things like that, and try to support each other wherever we can. And I'm looking forward also to come to China, to Sanya, for the next APSA meeting in December. I would like to welcome now, we have a few questions received. So if you have more, please go into the question and answer box. I would like to welcome now Giovanni Lopez. Giovanni is a researcher in the field of seed science, specializing in the development and introduction of new technologies in seed quality testing and seed treatment for grasses, alfalfa, and clovers at DLF. He holds a PhD of Agricultural, Forest, and Food Science from the University of Turin. I hope when you were there, you were supporting the right club. And Giovanni has contributed to the research of alternative methods for disinfection of vegetable seeds and the development of different assays for pathogen detection on seeds. Passionate about innovation, he is a member of the Advanced Technology Technical Committee at ISTA since 2019, and here the leader of its Molecular Technology Working Group since the beginning of this triennium. Thank you very much. Giovanni, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Andreas. I hope you see my presentation clear? To start, then thanks again, and thanks for the organizing team about this initiative on the 100 years of ISTA. I was asked to give a bit of my perspective as let's say a newcomer in ISTA. I call this presentation New Growth, this perspective from emerging seed researchers. As Andreas mentioned, I do work at DLF. DLF is a global market leader for forage and turf temperate grasses. So here in the company, I coordinate seed technology, the seed technology topics for the European group. This is related to grasses, alfalfa, and clovers. I'm located in the Netherlands, even if then this is a Danish company owned by grass seed growers, Danish seed grass seed growers. We are over 2,000 employees all around the world, and yes. So I focused in the seed technology, both as seed treatment and seed quality testing, and this is what took me to ISTA. So as mentioned by Andreas, I also make part of the Advanced Technologies Committee since 2019, and I think that this would be the line for my presentation, because my focus is new technologies indeed. This is the science I do. I keep myself busy with two main topics regarding seed quality testing. One is multispectral imaging. That means the analysis of images captured while using different light wavelengths beyond visible spectra. The idea of this analysis is to differentiate different seed types and detect impurities, and the possibility with this kind of tools is that it's non-invasive, non-destructive, and the analysis can be completed quite fast in that sense. So that is linked to the studies on purity. On multispectral imaging, I'm also working on the optimization of early counts of radical emergence. This is for grasses, so rye grasses and festuca types. This is to be linked with the how can we correlate the early counts of radical emergence to the final normal seedlings, the final germination capacity. So we are exploring on this topic too. Then regarding molecular methods, I'm also involved in some method development on PCR methods for the detection of annual ryegrass in perennial ryegrass. This is not this is a technique, as you may understand. This already is not the newest, but it's new for this kind of topic. We have our own challenges trying to detect these invasive crops, or at least this reduced these crops with reduced quality. So we are exploring with these molecular tools. A sneak peek on what can be achieved with multispectral imaging is other seed determination. This is our experience with oilseed rape. For us in DLF, we handle every year over 2,500 samples of oilseed rape. The aim of having this quality assessment is for fully settle our producers. So the idea here is to get, according to what we receive, being able to identify what is an oilseed, rapeseed, and what is any other seed from other crop. So results can be amazing. This is and this is not the end yet. I can report that 99.9% of the seeds have been identified correctly, and regarding the official samples we run. And here with these techniques, it's possible also to get very strong numbers easily. So to say, over 34,000 seeds analyzed, misclassified just below 1%. This is done through the use of a Videometer Lab device that we also collaborated with in order to develop these protocols for detection. Then we have again a sneak peek on the molecular method. I was talking about annual ryegrass detection in perennial ryegrass. This was not achieved easily. This was the rethinking on where should be the genetic difference between these very similar grasses at some point. So here what you see is the good performance of one of the selected markers we have now on spiked samples. So the blue line you see there is pure perennial ryegrass. The red lines is different spiked and pure samples of annual ryegrass. So there is a space for that. The markers are performing, and we are now moving on into the level to conclude the level of detection study to have a proper protocol on this task here. So as I see it, we have some key challenges when talking about introducing new technologies in our protocols for seed quality testing. For sure, we are looking for faster throughput, training time for analysts. We expect to have more cost-effective processes, potential automation, change and improvements in breeding in seed technology, hopefully lower detection limits. But there is a topic here I would like to make a remark, and is attracting new people into the seed testing. And as I see it, bringing new technologies into seed quality testing is could be the drive for. Oh, sorry, I hope you still see my presentation. I just need a double check with guys.
Yes, we can, Giovanni.
Perfect.
It's attracting new people into seed testing, which we see.
Yes, perfect. So I was saying that this main action here is referred to how new technologies coming into seed quality testing can actually bring these new people that we need. First, they increase the engagement through innovation. So they make more dynamic, more accessible space for young researchers to come to these topics, and also because there should be young researchers that are maybe looking into technology-driven processes. So this can be a point to communicate interdisciplinary fields. that is meant with using the different tools that are coming up in the technology world. Let's say, for example, artificial intelligence, high throughput molecular methods. That can actually be a way to make this cross-disciplinary appeal and bring talent from both genetics or computer sciences. This is something that I think we could be exploring more and more. Bringing new technologies in seed testing would also support career opportunities in emerging fields. We are not that sure how the job market will be in a few years, and it's very likely that this combination, this interdisciplinary tasks are bringing us some new career opportunities there, and that is driven also through the incorporation of new technologies. Future directions. As you may be aware, in the ISTA community, we have now this guideline on how to evaluate new technologies. One is if they require a method validation or not. If the technology is equivalent to the human analyst, we could not consider a validation method. It's not required. But if it is not considered equivalent, we will not need the validation of this method. As future direction, I will point on that line in orange there. That is that the checking, the monitoring, the training, and supervision around this new tool, new technology, that we would need to support. So in order to get an official tool applicable into the seed quality testing requirements we work with. So that is one first direction we would go. These are the alternatives we already have been evaluating. Then, of course, there are some trends. We are still navigating on what the future will bring to us. But we can already identify that these changing environmental conditions, the food needs, economical conditions changing all around the world, different technical and scientific possibilities, more capacity for calculation, more capacity for mathematical modeling. This is, of course, these items also address this future work, both in short and the long term. So I have some advices for aspiring researchers. I have to say that one key action there to do is embrace that interdisciplinary learning. I say don't be shy. Don't be shy with the topics you don't handle 100%. You can definitely gain a lot from learning from these topics next to your expertise, and wouldn't reach your possibilities in that sense. So as mentioned previously, in making this cross-disciplinary, having different experiences will enrich the general performance of your research. Then I would suggest also to find a mentor in the testing community. This is not something that I did myself, like in a systematically way, but this was more organic. I managed to know a lot of experienced people at ISTA, and they have been working as collaborators for me, and also mentors. So that you need a little luck, but there is a lot of people that can be acting as a mentor in this community. And of course, networking that applies for all job life, or for all work life. But participating in this in ISTA events is something like definitely help, and this helped me to understand how I would like to address my research in seed quality testing. Well, the ISTA community, I do see scientific collaboration in it. Of course, this is not limited to the discussions on standardization of testing protocols. That is the main of ISTA for, in that sense. But around that, we get sharing the technological developments from companies and research institutes and all other actors. You can do this networking I was mentioned before. If you are younger than 40 years old, you get some options like a Young at ISTA initiative. We will cover some of these points. You will need to access this kind of actions and discussions, these events. And one last comment from my side regarding this is that I see that finally there is a frame for introducing new technologies. This is now materializing more and more, so people is more aware about what do they need to check when a new technology is feasible in the laboratory. What questions you will need to do. Is it the method? Is touching the method is not? Is this a tool for my analysts? So I think that this is happening more and more. People is more aware at ISTA. So I would like to thank all the people here, especially Steve Jones. He was invited me for this webinar. Special thanks also to Bert van Down, our chair at the Advanced Technologies Committee, my colleague and mentor, Dr. Pedersen, and also the chair from the Variety Committee, Ana Laura Vicario. Thank you so much, and for you too, for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Giovanni. Thank you for also mentioning Young at ISTA in the background. I posted the link to the website for people who are interested in this project. I got not yet a handful of questions, but we keep these 4 questions due to time, I would say. And Giovanni, as you finished, maybe not an easy question to answer. You talked about MSI technology. Can that be applied to forest seed as well?
Well, for this kind of technology, as long as your object of study can be revealed on the surface of the seed, this is a possibility. If there is a chemical that can be that can change the way it looks like under different wavelengths of light, that could make a good evaluation in that sense. Shape, color, all this kind of attributes can be also explored. So as long as it's in the surface, as long as you can model around shape, size, and all these physical characteristics, I think it is possible.
Thank you for the answer. Uma, you talked about the ISTA Seed Academy, and I took the liberty also to post that around and send that link around to the audience. There was a question, ISTA Seed Academy, is it open to Africans as well? As far as I understood, it's open for everybody. Maybe you can answer.
Yeah, basically, yes, it's open, but there is a membership, right? There is a membership to access the modules. right? So if a company is registered as a member, then it comes with some clauses like 5 people gets access and things like that. I think if they go to the website, right, the details are all there.
Okay, thank you very much. Uma, I've got another question for you. There was a question on seed science and technology. Maybe you can answer, maybe we can answer together. How long does it take for a manuscript to go from submission to publication?
This is in SST, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can also answer that, but I think from the time it's submitted, the reviewers get about 3 weeks to actually get back with the review report. So I would say within a month, they get the first decision. The first decision to say whether it is rejected, accepted, and so on. But Andreas, maybe you want to add on if until final. That
Yeah.
definitely will take a bit longer.
It depends a little bit. Manuscripts come in, Fiona's looking at them, she's distributing it to the people on the board, which are the experts in the area. And I would say until members publish for free, but if you're a non-member, you also have to pay your publication fee first. I would say 4 to 6 months is a good timing for this, actually. We had another question on new technologies as well. How can they get, what do we do to get them in the rules? For instance, I see that Giovanni talked a little bit about the technologies itself, but there are also new techniques which are coming up, and these are often sponsored to get into the ISTA rules. There are sponsorships for seed health methods to be coming into the rules. There are special projects. One of these special projects in the moment, and Fiona could have talked about that as well, is to get for moisture equilibrium relative humidity as a method into the rules as well. So these new techniques and new technologies are supported by ISTA, and we try to bring them in, but they have to deliver results which can be repeatable and reproducible. And that is always important, that it is not a one-shot result, but it's repeatable and reproducible. There are new questions coming in. Maybe I can. People asking about complete chapters published of the rules published. We have always, maybe the process is to say that the membership is voting on the rules changes in the ordinary general meeting. This was this July, and then new rules versions are coming out every year, valid from 1st of January. If you are an accredited laboratory, you have to use it from 1st of January. Free publish is always chapter 1, chapter 2, and the seed health methods. All other chapters you can either buy from the ISTA website or from our publishing company, Ingenta Connect, but you are guided there from the ISTA website. You can also buy the whole ISTA rules. The more chapters you want to have, the more interesting maybe to buy the whole rules, because they are much cheaper then. But that's published every year, and if you follow up, you will find out how the changes are. Subscribe to the ISTA newsletter, or look also into the ISTA publication Seed Testing International, which will come out in a few days as a new version, where I'm the editor-in-chief. But that's our news journal, more a news magazine than a scientific journal. The scientific journal is SST. Let me see. There are quite a lot of things coming in. Congratulations! Yeah, thank you very much. First time to know about Young at ISTA. That's good. I'm happy to hear about Young at ISTA as well for young professionals. And thank you, Giovanni. Do you think the method related to using MSI is sufficient to measure physiology? Wouldn't the use of molecular methods be a better solution?
Well, it depends on the object of the study. I think that for both solutions, for example, detecting a pathogen, as long as the pathogen is evident on a seed, by using multispectral imaging, that can be one non-destructive tool. If we are talking about the same or a similar pathogen maybe present in the seed but inside and not revealing itself outside, you will need to go for a destructive analysis and definitely extraction, DNA extraction from that material could be usable for a molecular detection. So, yeah, it's depending on the challenge and depending on your topic of study.
Thank you, Giovanni. There's another question which we may not want to answer due to other points. How much accuracy of Videometer in terms of physical purity analysis? We do not want to answer that question because there are other providers than Videometer, and we are not making any publication space for one provider only. The only thing which we can say, and Giovanni, you probably will not do that, and Uma as well, all the machinery you buy also for new technologies has to fit for your purpose. You have to test it out for what you need it to do. And if that fits, and Giovanni, you mentioned that in the presentation as well, if that fits and is comparable even to the human eye of an analyst, then you can use it even for ISTA tests. I think we can leave it with that answer, right? And then there's a thank you, and I'm happy. So that's very good, and I can close the session. And thank you both for being here and giving you very interesting presentations. And I want to mention again that this webinar can be found later. Give our marketing group a few days on the ISTA YouTube channel. And when it is published, it's also mentioned with a link inside the ISTA newsletter. If you are subscribed to that, you will get the link automatically. I do not want to close without telling you that there are 2 more upcoming webinars in 2 and 3 weeks. Just be online and check with the newsletter. They're both announced, one with Florina and Russia on quality assurance and another one on GMO a week later. Thank you very much. Thank you, Uma. Thank you, Giovanni. And all have a good time. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.